My name is Aria Vale, 32 years old. I stand in the hush of my first home, the keys still warm in my palm, the door swung open as if the house has been holding its breath for me. Fresh paint lingers at the back of my throat, bright and promising, the kind of scent that says, "You did it. This is yours." "Hello, beautiful," I whisper to the empty foyer, tracing a fingertip along the smooth, newly painted wall. My shoes click softly on the hardwood as I move toward the living room, already picturing the cream sofa I spent 3 weeks choosing, the glass coffee table with edges like clean lines of a plan finally executed, the matching end tables that looked like punctuation to a sentence I'd waited years to finish. I turn the corner and freeze. What stares back is a stranger's confession. A threadbare couch, bleeding stuffing from tired seams, a scarred wooden coffee table ringed with circles like small, stubborn failures, shelving that sags as though ashamed to be looked at. The smell hits, mildew and something sour and the sharp tang of old urine, a stale memory soaked into fabric I recognize even before the anger lands. Miranda's castoffs. I breathe through my mouth and still feel it scrape the back of my tongue. The room has been rewritten in a language I didn't choose. The only thing that belongs to me are the smart curtains from Serafina, sleek and obedient when you speak to them, their fabric catching light like water. They hang perfectly at the windows, a luxury afloat in a cheap imitation of a life. My phone vibrates. On the screen, a photo blazes alive. My cream sofa, the one I loved enough to insure, sits in Miranda's apartment, and my nephews are mid-bounce, sticky palms stamped on the cushions like signatures. Beneath the photo, "Thanks, sis. Mom said it was a housewarming gift for me. Your old stuff looks great in your place. You'll make it work. You always do." My hands shake, and still I can't look away. A mistake clacks through my head like beads on a broken string. 5 days ago, riding the high of the closing papers, I'd announced a housewarming in the family chat. Too early, too proud, carving the date so everyone could come. For once, this thing would belong to me publicly, not just privately on bills and bank statements. My mother chimed in first, swift and warm in a way that made the child part of me tip its face to the sun. "I want to see it before everyone else, darling. Let me come early. Let me help." The furniture company called the next day to confirm delivery for Friday, today, when I had a non-negotiable client pitch. Before I could juggle solutions, Mom's voice, practiced and smooth. "I'll accept it for you. I'll be there first thing." I gave her the spare key. I pressed it into the mouth of a plan and told myself it was still mine. The stench thickens, and something colder than rage settles at the base of my skull. I sink onto the filthy couch and dust sighs up around me, catching in light like ash. 32 years of being the reliable daughter, the ledger that somehow balances everyone else's mess. I was the one who paid my own way through college while Miranda quit and reinvented the quitting as freedom. I covered her $1,200 credit card debt, then the next $1,200, then the quiet installments of $600 every month because the boys shouldn't suffer, because guilt is a taut leash when you loop it around love. I learned the geometry of boundaries and then handed my mother the eraser. Another buzz. "The boys love the sofa," Miranda texts. "Perfect for our place. Mom said you wouldn't mind. You're so independent." The words detonate without sound. Something in me, the part that always stretched, finally refuses. I stand, set my jaw against the rank smell, and close my fingers around the car keys until metal bites. 10 minutes to Miranda's apartment. 10 minutes to face the manufacturer of my softest excuses. Stairwell air tastes like dust and old heat. I don't knock. The key Miranda gave me for emergencies turns with a small, traitorous click. The door swings wide, and I am confronted by my living room, transplanted like a heart into a hostile body. My cream sectional, too large for the cramped space, rams into walls that don't deserve it. My glass coffee table, my precise end tables, the rug that took 2 men to carry, all jammed and angled wrong. On my sofa sits my mother like a queen on a borrowed throne, a china cup balanced in fingers that have never once trembled in the face of my discomfort. Linda offers a smile with edges. Miranda stands nearby with a look that reads both caught and brazen, a cheap synthesis she's worn since adolescence. I shut the door, the slam echoing. "What is this?" I ask, the words low and measured because I won't spend another minute bleeding for their show. "Aria, darling," my mother begins, setting the teacup down with a polite click. No need for that tone. "You stole my furniture." "We didn't steal anything," Miranda says, folding her arms like a victory. "Mom said it was a gift. Family shares." I look to the hallway where two pairs of eyes are peeking around the corner. My nephew's face is soft with confusion. I keep my voice level. Family asks. "You live alone in a big house," Mom answers, wearing reason like an accessory. Why hoard expensive things when Miranda has children? "Because I bought them," I say, and it sounds like a prayer snapped in half. "For my home." Miranda tips her chin, smirking. "You're an influencer. Turn trash into treasure. That's your thing. My stuff will be amazing with your touch." Something moves behind me, a small shift, and I realize Robert has been sitting in the corner all along, quiet as an apology. He rises a fraction, hands half lifted, then tucks them away when Mom's gaze flicks like a blade. It's always been that simple, the choreography of power in this family. Things happen in the space where a father should say no. "And how?" I ask, the floor settling under my feet. "Do you know about my photo shoot with Serafina on Tuesday?" Mom's features ripple with a guilt she has practiced at smoothing. "You mentioned it," she says, obviously. "I had told no one, not family, especially not family. The Serafina campaign is clean and crucial and fragile as blown glass. The curtains, those calm, obedient guardians in my desecrated living room, are the visible tip of contracts I cannot afford to jeopardize." "You went through my email," I say, the words soft and terrible. "You planned this." The boys spill from the hallway and cling to my legs, small arms like ropes. "Auntie, please don't take the sofa," whispers the younger one, cheeks shiny with sudden tears. We love it. Miranda seizes it, thrusting guilt between us. "See, you're upsetting them." I kneel, hands warm against their shoulders. "Sweethearts, I love you. I'm not mad at you, but this is mine. Grown-ups made a bad choice." From the corner, Robert tries again, voice low and sanded down. "Miranda, give your sister her things back." The sentence dies when Mom turns. He shrinks, folding back into the chair as if it has teeth. "Pack it up," I say, standing, "or face the consequences." Miranda snorts. "What are you going to do?" I pull my phone from my pocket. My calm surprises me. It feels like a set of keys finally fitting the right lock. "You're right," I tell them. "I can't do anything." Relief flickers across both their faces before I finish. "The police can." I dial. Mom lunges, fingers clawing for the phone. I step aside without looking at her. "Yes," I tell the dispatcher. "I'd like to report a theft." The pitch of the room changes, a trapped bird frantic. China shatters at my feet as Mom drops her cup and switches strategies, cycling from threat to plea with the quick change of someone who calls it love. Miranda blusters about misunderstandings and family matters that don't require outsiders. Robert stands, sits, rubs his temples with the concentration of a man who has just discovered the concept of choice and is learning it hurts. Time elongates. My nephews vanish into their room, whispering worry under the door. I walk to the window and stare out at a sky the color of a bruise mending. And for a strange moment, I'm grateful for the ugly light because it tells the truth. I think about contracts and linens still to steam and a home that smelled like hope 30 minutes ago, and I feel the strangest thing. Not the hot, consuming fire of fury, but a steady, colder flame that doesn't need oxygen from anyone else. There's a knock at the door. The apartment stills. Miranda's chin lifts a notch. Mom inhales like a diver about to hold her breath. Robert's eyes find mine. Flicker, falter, steady. I open the door to two officers, one with cropped blonde hair, one with serious eyes, and step back to let the truth inside. The female officer scans the room with a quick, practiced sweep, taking in my cream sectional jammed against the far wall and the nervous energy hanging from the ceiling like steam. "We received a call regarding property removed without the owner's consent," she says. "Let's start with names." Miranda crosses her arms, chin high. My mother adjusts her blouse as if the situation is a wrinkle she can smooth. Robert half rises, then sits again, hands folded. I keep my voice even when I speak. "I'm Aria Vale. I purchased the furniture currently in this apartment and had it delivered to my home this morning while I was at work. It was removed and replaced with items from here without my permission. Do you have proof of purchase and delivery? Asked the male officer, his eyes kind but unmoved. Yes. I hand over my phone, receipts, invoices, a delivery confirmation email with my address, the exact SKUs for the cream sectional, the glass coffee table, the end tables. The female officer scrolls with focus that steadies me. Mom slides into her congenial tone. It's a misunderstanding, officers. We are family. Aria agreed to gift the furniture. My daughter Miranda has 2 young boys. Surely you can see the sense. I did not agree, I say. Miranda thrusts out her own phone, pulling up a text thread with a single image of my nephews bouncing on my sofa and her captioned, "Thanks, sis." The officer looks from the phone to Miranda. This reads like you're thanking her, not that she offered. It was implied, Miranda says, shrugging, the shrug she's used since she was 15 and called the consequences unfair. The officers separate us for statements. With me, the questions come gently as shamefully, and in order. When I purchased, what I expected to find, what I found, whether I gave anyone permission. In the other corner, I hear the low thrum of Mom's persuasion shifting keys from family to compassion to you wouldn't want this to look bad. The officers reconvene, their posture like a closed door. Given the documentation, says the woman, we advise the property be returned immediately. If not, Ms. Vale may press charges. Color drains from Miranda's face like someone pulled a plug. Fine, she spits. Take your precious sofa. Mom flicks a look at Robert sharp enough to skin. Help them, she orders, as if command could rewind the hour. Robert moves, and for once I don't hate him for obeying. The officers supervise as each piece is unhooked from this cramped space's corners, as my coffee table is wrapped without the contempt it arrived with, as cushions are lifted and displaced gum and crumbs and a pencil with no eraser dropout. Miranda mutters curses under her breath. Mom wraps the glass with jerky, offended motions. My nephews stand in the doorway, small and stricken, and when I catch their eyes, I nod once to say I'm not the monster they've been warned about. Back at my house, the officers oversee the return like a ritual reversed. The door opens to the scent of paint and a breeze that feels braver than it did this morning. The smart curtains from Serafina glow softly along their seams, obedient and untouched, an island of calm. Each piece is placed where it belongs. The woman officer hands me a card with a case number. Document everything, she advises, for your records. Her gaze lingers, kind in a way that makes my chest ache. Boundaries aren't cruelty. When the door closes and the house is mine again, it isn't. The sofa bears a faint crescent stain like a smile that forgot how. The coffee table wears a new scratch, thin and treacherous. A tag dangles half-torn from an end table. I move through the room with my camera and the slow patience of a surgeon, filming wide then close, narrating the date and the damage. I note angles and light and the tiny hairline nick on the table leg no one will see but me. It feels clinical, and then it feels holy, as if bearing witness to what was harmed is the first step of honoring what remains. I call an emergency cleaning service and agree to the weekend rate without flinching. The stain must be gone before the Serafina shoot on Tuesday. I vacuum, wipe, realign, touch the edges of my plan with both hands and press. For an hour the house sounds like work and not like grief. My phone erupts. 3 missed calls from Luna, 1 from Serafina, a blast of notifications from social, a photo I know before I open it, Miranda's post. She's captured the old, filthy furniture in my living room before the return. Wide shot, my smart curtains, a crisp, brandable backdrop, tagged with my handle, tagged with the brands. Visited the expert decorator's new place, she's written. Guess this is an influencer's real taste. Disappointed. The comments split like a fault line. People defending me, people piling on, a few gleeful strangers with nothing better to do. My stomach drops, but my spine doesn't. I call Serafina first. Aria, she says, voice iced and steady. We were sent something unacceptable. The image is real, I say, and fraudulent at once. I tell the story as cleanly as I can. The spare key, the delivery, the swap, the police, how the furniture was returned under supervision, how the stain is being handled. I don't beg and I don't deflect. When I finish, silence fills my ears so fully I can hear my own breath. We have a photo shoot in 2 days, she says at last. My brand cannot be associated with chaos. I understand. Give me tomorrow. Come Tuesday at 9 as planned, and you will walk into calm. You will see the images we agreed on. The curtains are untouched. Perfect. I will deliver. Another pause. In it, I remember the stylist's offhand warning at our last meeting. Screenshots live forever. I also remember the way Serafina looked at my mood board, how her eyes softened at the clean lines and practical elegance. All right, she says. One chance. Image is everything. Not everything, I say before I can stop myself, but I know it matters. We hang up. I text Luna. Crisis, contained in process. Then I open a spreadsheet and name it Final Invoice. It isn't petty, it's precise. I type the numbers as if they are coordinates to the life I'm leaving. $12,200 credit card rescue. $1,800 follow-up. $600 monthly support times 36 months. Estimated gifts over 5 years. I add total breathe. Nearly $30,000. I attach the file to an email addressed to Linda, Miranda, and Robert. Subject, final invoice, payment not expected. Body. This is what being the family wallet has cost. Consider this notice that the ATM is permanently closed. Do not contact me again. I click send. I block Linda and Miranda. I leave Robert unblocked. Not because he's earned it, but because the space between choosing me and choosing peace might still have a path through it, and I want him to find it if he tries. By Monday afternoon, the cleaners have removed the last shadow of stain. The air smells like citrus and soap, the olfactory shape of a second chance. Tuesday morning, the house becomes a choreography of light stands and soft commands. The photographer seats me on the cream sectional and directs my hands toward the smart curtains. Lift your chin a touch, he says. Let the fabric catch the window light. The curtains obey a murmur. They soften from translucent to a gentle opaque that makes the room look like it's holding daylight the way a body holds breath. Serafina watches a monitor, expression carved into concentration. Then, unexpectedly, she smiles. Beautiful, she says. That's the brand. For 4 hours, we build images like scaffolding for a new story, one where competence is louder than rumor. When it's done, Serafina shakes my hand. Distribute the selects tomorrow, she says. I'll have PR coordinate. After they leave, the house exhales. Luna brings wine. We toast with the tired relief that comes after cliff edges are stepped back from. You didn't blink, she says, proud and fierce. I blinked, I admit, just not where they could see. When she's gone, the house is quiet enough to hear the ocean hiss behind the glass. My phone lights with a single new email from a PR address with the brand's domain. We should talk distribution tomorrow. The good kind of talk, I think. The kind that moves forward. I set the phone face down and look at the room that is finally, almost, mine again. The curtains glow like patient sentries. The sectional is impossibly clean. The coffee table's side table's scratch is thin as a vein and only visible if you know where to look. I know where to look. I choose not to. Upstairs, I open my laptop and check the inbox I've filtered to keep family messages out. Nothing. Blessed, ringing quiet. I brush my teeth, wash my face, and when I turn back the covers, I notice a smear of dust across my forearm from where I'd leaned against the wall earlier, documenting every angle. I wipe it away. It leaves no trace. On the nightstand, the business card from the officer catches a slice of streetlight. Document everything, she'd said. I will. But I also write what comes next, the kind of records you don't capture in photos, a refusal to be baited, a willingness to be precise, and mercy that doesn't confuse itself with surrender. Before I sleep, I whisper to the dark that I'm not the furniture in anyone's story. Moved, swapped, staged. I am the house. What stays, stays because I say so. Silence arrives like fresh snow, soft and deceptively bright. In the mornings, I step onto the deck with coffee and listen to the ocean, Stitch the night to the day, and my phone doesn't light with demands disguised as love. After Serafina's team released the photos, the good noise flooded in. Emails from small brands that felt like neighbors, from bigger ones that felt like weather systems, all asking for my eye on their things. The campaign's clean lines and unfussy warmth traveled farther than my anger ever could. I work long hours and sleep deeply. For a while, peace tastes like citrus and late afternoon sun on the cream sectional, a life pared down to what I chose. Then the pressure begins, not head-on but sideways, like wind sneaking in at the seams. Aunt Teresa calls first, and when I don't answer, she leaves a message that sounds like a prayer, trying to pass for a scolding. "She's your mother," she says. "You can't stay angry forever. Families forgive." Uncle Don texts a quote with no context about bitterness being poison. Another aunt sends 3 photos from a baby shower I wasn't invited to and adds, "We miss your smile." The chorus is familiar: forgiveness as silence, reconciliation as surrender, love as obedience. I hold the phone in my palm and feel the weight of decades I've already carried. The house remembers for me. When I pass the end table with the torn tag, when a narrow scratch flashes for a second on the coffee table, depending on the angle of light, I remember. Not as a wound I keep picking, but as a scar that knows its own borders. It's a strange kind of relief to be accused of being cold and discover that what I am is finally warm enough to myself to keep out of the storm. Robert calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays at first, then on the off days too. He doesn't leave voicemails in the beginning. The missed calls stack like dominoes he hopes I'll tip by guilt. After weeks of nothing from me, he starts talking to the air. "Aria, it's Dad," he says, and the word Dad moves through my chest like something I used to believe in. "Your mother, she misses you. Maybe we could sit down, all of us." I let the messages pile until the voice sounds like it's coming from farther away than a phone can measure. I am not trying to punish him. I am refusing to be punished. Work fills the rooms. I say yes to a modest lighting brand whose fixtures make shadows look intentional. I consult for a small furniture maker who builds with salvage wood and tells the truth about knots and grain. The internet's appetite for rage turns elsewhere, the way it always does, but a residue lingers. Whispers on a local forum about that incident with the cops. A speculative thread stitching together guesses with certainty as if they are the same. When Luna sees it, she sends me the link and a single line. "We don't feed pigeons for a reason." I don't click again. I do click open the email from Serafina's PR lead 3 days after the launch. The numbers are clean and strong, the comments full of relief. People hungry to see rooms that look lived in without being carelessly used. "Very on brand," the PR lead writes. "We'd like to explore a quarterly feature." I say yes, with a steadiness that would have been impossible 3 months ago. It isn't that I'm unafraid, it's that the fear no longer lives in the room with me. The first photo from Robert lands on a Sunday morning. I'm cleaning up pancake batter from the edge of the stove and humming to the radio when my phone pulses face down on the counter. The image opens to Alex and Jamie holding a sign made from notebook paper taped together. The marker letters tilted and enthusiastic. "We miss you, Auntie P." They're thinner at the cheeks than the last time I saw them. Someone cut their hair too short above the ears. There's a smear of something, paint, jelly, on Jamie's sleeve. Beneath the photo, Robert's message. "They want to visit. Would you consider it?" I lean both hands on the counter and breathe. Love begins its old campaign behind my ribs, and guilt tries to masquerade as its general. But I have been practicing a different kind of arithmetic. Loving the boys does not require me to fund or accept harm. Loving myself does not require me to abandon them to their mother's growing pains. Integrity can hold more than one heart at once. I call him. He answers on the first ring, voice already apologizing. "Aria?" "I saw the picture," I say. "I miss them too." He is quiet for so long I think the call has dropped. When he speaks, hope has made a tent in his throat. "We could come by, maybe next weekend." "You and the boys," I say. "Just you 3. That's the condition." I make my voice plain, not sharp, not pleading, plain, like a contract laid on a table in good light. He inhales, holds it, releases. I hear the calculation, the familiar shuffle between what he wants and what he thinks peace requires of him. Okay, he says, Saturday morning. After we hang up, I walk room to room and feel my heart doing something I don't recognize at first. It isn't bracing, it's making space. I pull out the dinosaur-shaped pancake mold Jamie loved the last time we were all easy together. I set aside chocolate chips for Alex. I buy paperbacks with ridiculous covers I know they'll devour. I move the breakable pieces to higher shelves and tuck the remote where little hands won't turn the curtains into a toy. Saturday arrives with the eager knock of children who haven't learned to pretend patience. When I open the door, both boys blast through like light, arms flung around my waist. Auntie P, they shout, laughing like their bodies can't contain the sound. Over their heads, Robert stands hesitant and a little smaller than I remember, as if he's been shrinking himself to fit rooms where he's not allowed to take up space. I step back, nod him in, and the house swallows us. The day is a mosaic of the small things that build a life. Pancakes that fall apart but still taste like a treat. Board games with rules that bend to delight. Couch forts that turn my living room into a country with its own laws. The boys do not mention their mother or grandmother. I do not mention them either. We talk about school and a classmate's pet lizard and how the ocean looks different every hour if you pay attention. When they nap, Robert wanders to the window and stares at the water like it might have an answer he's never asked for. She's different, he says finally, not looking at me. Miranda. Different how? He rubs his face with both hands. Off social media, mostly. And she got another job. Nights a few times a week. There's less performance, more showing up. His voice goes quiet. She had to. I wait. He's a man unlearning a language he thought was native, and you can't rush that. The boys seem steadier, he adds. No new shoes every 2 weeks, but dinner's on the table. It isn't about shoes, I say. No, he agrees. It never was. He turns to me then with a look I have never seen in his eyes where I am concerned. Respect, uncomplicated by fear. You were right, he says, and the words rearrange the air molecules in the room. About all of it. We don't hug. We don't have to. The boys wake up hungry and loud, and the afternoon slips back into its bright, ordinary ease. When dusk violets the sky, Robert gathers backpacks and stray socks, and the paperback Alex has already dog-eared. At the door, he hesitates. Same time next month? Same time, I say. He nods. The boys barrel into me for one more hug, and then the door closes, and I stand with my back against it and let the quiet settle like a well-earned blanket. The week resumes its measured rhythm. I finalize a lighting proposal, consult on a rental staging that doesn't pretend the tenants don't own shoes, and sketch layouts for a couple moving into their first shared space. Luna drops by with a plant in a ceramic pot shaped like a calm thought. You look good, she says, tilting her head like she's checking level. Peace suits you. Peace had to be tailored, I say. But yes. On Thursday night, while uploading a set of before and after photos for a small brand that makes humble chairs look honest, an email pings from an address I don't recognize. No greeting, no body, no signature. Just a subject line. You don't know what she's planning. My cursor blinks over the unopened message. The old reflex wakes, panic dressed as readiness, and then sits back down, chastened. I close the laptop. I stand in the middle of my living room and name the things that are true. The curtains rest. The sofa holds its shape. My lungs work. Tomorrow, I'll decide whether to read it. Tonight, I let the ocean keep the beat for my heart and allow the house to remember me as someone who chooses, again and again, what lasts. The invitation wasn't digital. I printed it on textured ivory paper, sealed it with wax, and hand-delivered a few envelopes myself. A proper housewarming, Luna had said, laughing, for the house that already survived a fire without flames. The evening air hums with low conversation, the scent of roasted garlic, and a playlist that slips between jazz and quiet instrumentals. My living room, once the scene of a small war, now glows in the amber light from the pendant lamps I designed with a local artisan. Guests move through the space, admiring the lines of the furniture, unaware of its history. They see serenity. I see victory measured in restraint. David arrives first, early as always, carrying wine in one hand and a tool bag in the other. "The hinge on your pantry door squeaks," he says, not as apology, but as offering. He smells of sawdust and aftershave, the kind of scent that makes a room feel steadier. "Fixing something before the party even starts?" I tease. "Can't help it," he says, smile crooked. Things should open smoothly. The words sit between us heavier than their context, but neither of us moves to lighten them. Luna bursts in next, a flash of red lipstick and certainty. "The host herself," she declares, wrapping me in a hug that smells like citrus and defiance. She scans the room, nodding approval. "You've replaced ghosts with good lighting." I laugh because she's right. Every piece in this room has been cleaned, documented, and chosen again. Kept not because it survived, but because I decided it could stay. By 8, the place is full. Colleagues, new clients, a few neighbors. Conversation drifts toward design trends, vacation plans, harmless gossip. The ocean outside keeps its own rhythm, reminding me that everything built on land is temporary anyway. I'm talking with a brand director about sustainable textiles when the doorbell rings again. I excuse myself, open the door, and freeze. Serafina stands there, elegant in navy silk, a framed magazine spread under her arm. Our collaboration fills the glossy page, me on the cream sofa, sunlight filtering through those flawless curtains, tagline in gold script, "The power of a room reclaimed." "I wanted you to have the first copy," she says. "Your shoot exceeded expectations." She glances around the house, her gaze analytical but warm. "It's even more beautiful in person." "Come in," I say, stepping aside. The murmur's quiet as she enters. People recognize her face, her brand, the weight she carries in this world. Luna appears with a glass of champagne. "You're glowing," Serafina tells me. "Success suits you." I think of the nights I spent bleaching out the stain, the sound of my own breath steadying after every wave of doubt, and realize she isn't wrong. David leans against the back of the sofa, catching my eye. "Real housewarming, huh?" he says softly. "The first one was an ambush. This one's earned." I nod, letting the truth settle. An hour later, guests gather on the patio with drinks. The ocean throws silver reflections onto the glass doors. I'm reaching for another bottle when the doorbell rings again. For a moment, a pulse of dread, old muscle memory. But it's only the courier I hired for late deliveries. He hands me a thick envelope with my name written in neat, unfamiliar handwriting. "From a Ms. Linda Brooks, he says. My mother." The sound of her name is a pebble dropped in still water. I sign for it, thank him, close the door. Luna appears at my shoulder. "What is it?" "Let's find out." I break the seal carefully. Inside, an official-looking letterhead from a lawyer. Words leap out: property dispute, heirloom claim, table resembling a family asset. A photo of my end table, the one with the torn tag, clipped to the document. The implication is clear. My mother is threatening to reclaim it as an antique loaned during renovation. The absurdity makes me laugh, sharp and startled. "They're grasping," Luna says, reading over my shoulder. "She wants attention, not justice." Then she won't get either. I slip the letter back into the envelope, slide it into a drawer. I'll document it, send a polite reply with purchase proof, and never speak of it again. David watches me from across the room, eyebrows raised. "That didn't rattle you," he says when the others drift back outside. "It tried," I admit, "but I learned something these past months. Some fires don't deserve oxygen." The party continues, laughter rising again like surf. Serafina clinks her glass for attention. "To Aria," she says, her accent giving my name a music I hadn't known it could have. "To new beginnings, and to women who turn damage into design." The guests echo the toast, glasses lifted. Warmth spreads through the room, not the fragile kind that depends on permission, but the steady burn of ownership. Later, after most have gone, the house is a scatter of empty glasses and the lingering echo of good noise. Luna helps gather dishes, humming. David stays behind to fix that hinge after all. "You could have ignored it," I tell him. He grins. "I like things that close properly, too." When Luna leaves, the quiet feels earned. David joins me on the sofa, the same one that once carried the weight of my mother's authority. He runs a rough hand along the fabric, now pristine. Hard to believe this was the battlefield, he says. It's the monument now, I reply. Every mark cleaned, every memory cataloged. He nods, thoughtful. I've been talking with the city council about that vacant lot near the community center, he says. They want proposals for a small playground. We could design it together, you with your sense of space, me with the building side. The idea blooms immediately. Laughter instead of shouting, children playing without manipulation. A place that teaches balance, I say. I'd like that. He smiles. So would I. The ocean outside grows louder as the tide comes in. I pour us both a final glass of wine. To smooth hinges and second chances, I toast. He laughs. And to furniture that stays where it belongs. We clink glasses, the sound small but certain. For a moment I think of the unopened letter upstairs, of Linda somewhere rehearsing another performance, of the email I still haven't read about what she might be planning. But the thought passes like weather over glass. The walls of this house are thick with decision now. When David leaves, I walk him to the door. You built something solid, he says, and I know he doesn't mean the house. I lock up behind him, turn off the lights, and sink onto the cream sofa. The torn tag on the end table flutters slightly in the draft from the vent. I reach over, smooth it down, and smile. Imperfection as proof. Survival as design. The ocean answers with its endless applause. The email comes on a gray morning, tucked between invoices and shipping confirmations. Subject line, from Dad. No punctuation, just those 2 words standing. Like they're waiting for permission. I almost delete it without reading, but something, a pulse of curiosity, or maybe mercy, stops my hand. The message is brief. Your mother plans to go public. I need to see you before she does. Attached is a scan of another letter. This one on different stationery but carrying the same brittle righteousness. Linda is threatening to clarify her side in a local lifestyle magazine, framing my actions as a daughter's overreaction, a tragic misunderstanding magnified by social media. At the bottom, her signature curls like smoke. I stare at it until the words blur. The part of me that once scrambled to fix things twitches awake and then remembers she's retired. I reply with a single sentence, come by tomorrow at 6. When the knock comes, it's tentative, like he half expects the house to reject him. Robert stands there in a windbreaker, too thin for the chill, a man made smaller by years of apology. I let him in. The air between us hums with unspoken rules. Don't mention the letter, don't mention the past, maybe start with coffee. I pour 2 cups, black for him, milk for me, and we sit at the dining table that has never hosted our family together. He slides a folded paper toward me. She wants to tell her version, he says quietly. She's already spoken to someone at the magazine. His hands tremble slightly, a visible echo of all the times he never stopped her. If she prints lies, I'll respond, I say. But I won't start the war. He nods slowly. That's what I came to ask about, how far you'll go. As far as truth, I answer, no further. He takes a sip of coffee, winces at the bitterness, and stares at his hands. I could make a statement, he says finally. I have the receipts, the police report. I could tell them what really happened. The offer sits between us, fragile and real. I study his face, the weary lines, the eyes that have learned to look away, and realize this is the bravest thing he's ever said. If she goes public, tell the truth, I say. But don't do it for me. Do it because it's time you stop living in the background of your own story. He exhales, and something unclenches in his shoulders. She's afraid, you know, he murmurs, of becoming irrelevant, of you not needing her. She's right about one of those, I reply softly. We talk for another hour, mostly about the boys. He shows me photos, Jamie missing a tooth, Alex holding a science fair ribbon. They look lighter somehow, more at home in their own skin. When he leaves, I walk him to the door. The sky outside is the color of new steel, the kind that promises durability, not shine. He hesitates. She'll keep trying, he warns. I know, I say, but so will I. After he's gone, I draft a short statement and save it in my documents folder. To whom it may concern, all claims regarding property or professional misconduct are false. Official records and police reports are available upon request. I wish my family peace. It's simple, calm, unshakable. I name the file, prepared, not provoked, and close the laptop. Days pass. No article appears. Maybe the magazine decided the story wasn't worth the mess, or maybe Robert intervened before the match hit the fuse. Either way, the quiet that follows doesn't feel like waiting. It feels like winning by choosing not to fight. On Saturday, the doorbell rings again, but this time the sound pulls a smile from me. Robert stands there with the boys, each carrying a paper bag painted with bright handprints. "We made you something," Jamie says, eyes wide. They step inside, leaving footprints of sand on the floor. I don't mind. Alex pulls out a construction paper card with lopsided letters. "Thank you for loving us even when it's hard." My throat tightens. "I'll frame it," I say, and I mean it. The day unspools in small wonders. Board games, laughter, pancakes again, because tradition likes repetition. When they nap, Robert walks the perimeter of the living room, tracing the walls with his gaze. "You've built something solid," he says. "I had to," I answer. "Houses don't defend themselves." He nods. I'm learning that people can, though. There's pride in his tone, faint but present. It feels like the beginning of forgiveness, the real kind that doesn't forget what it cost. After they leave, I sit on the sofa and run my hand along the fabric, the same spot that once carried my mother's perfume and my sister's laughter. It smells like lemon cleaner now, like endings rewritten. The end table with the infamous torn tag gleams faintly in the afternoon light. Proof and peace sitting side by side. David drops by later, sleeves rolled up, blueprints under his arm. "The council approved it," he says. "The playground project, they want it by spring." He spreads the plans across my coffee table. Slide, swings, a shaded reading corner. The design is simple and generous, made for small hands and fearless hearts. "This is good," I say, tracing a finger along the curved path leading to the center. "Balanced. Safe." He grins. "Like you." I roll my eyes, but the warmth lands anyway. "You think I'm safe?" "I think you learned where safety starts," he says. "That counts for more." We work late, sketching colors and materials. At one point he pauses, pencil hovering. "You ever think about your mom seeing this place? Seeing you now?" I consider it. Maybe one day she'll understand what boundaries built, not what they broke. But if she doesn't, that's okay too. When he leaves, I walk him out to his truck. The air smells of salt and sawdust. "You're good at this," he says. "At what?" "Turning what hurts into what helps." He touches my shoulder, gentle, and drives off. Inside, the house is quiet again. The ocean presses against the night like a heartbeat. I open the framed magazine spread Serafina gave me and hang it above the end table. The tagline gleams under the lamplight. "The power of a room reclaimed." For the first time, it feels less like branding and more like prophecy. My phone buzzes once. A new message. From Mom. Just a single word. "Please." I stare at it for a long moment, then press and hold until the delete option appears. I tap it. Gone. The silence that follows is clean. Outside, the wind shifts, carrying the scent of rain and something new. Hope, maybe. I step onto the deck. The ocean is a dark, moving mirror. In its reflection, my windows glow warm, steady, alive. Somewhere out there, my family still spins their stories. In here, mine finally stands still. Tomorrow, I'll meet David at the empty lot and mark the ground where children will someday climb and fall and laugh, where noise will be joy, not weapon, where what we build will last. For now, I go back inside, close the door, and let the latch click home with a sound that feels final and free.